we all want the best education for our kids, but who's the best at educating the educators? Once teachers leave university, how do they keep up with communication and technology changes as they come along, particularly when the students are so relaxed at using what might be, to the teacher, new and challenging? Well, our next guest, Louise Lewis, is helping teachers bring that technology to the classroom, and a lot of that technology is already there. Louise has now established a CloudEd, a service to facilitate the opportunity for educators to embrace what's there. And Louise joins us on the line. G'day.
Good morning, Scott. How are you?
I'm really well. I guess when you've got a classroom full of kids who have their head buried in a tablet or a phone or a computer, you know, the classroom can be a bit dull, but it doesn't have to be, does it?
No, definitely not. And what we're hoping these days is that educators use all the technologies available to them so that the learners can be exposed to all different learning experiences, not just confined within schools and even universities and vet institutions, but tap into all those resources that are free around the world and communicate with each other.
Well, the universities certainly do, don't they? They have massive databases, you know, for the students to get onto e-learning, but it doesn't seem as if and a lot of it's free, as you say, but it doesn't seem as if the schools have that resource. But you're trying to change that, aren't you?
That's right. Typically we have early adopters and innovators in educational institutions, but it's the next group of people who like to see the technologies working and make sure that they're going to work when they implement them in the classroom, and they're the groups that we want to train and help so that there's a holistic approach within educational institutions which is futuristic and sustainable, because there are changes in this realm daily and it's hard for educators to keep up with them.
And even just using some classical film or something in English to show the kids, a graphic example if they're studying Dickens in Year 11 in English. I mean, that's so powerful, isn't it? But we don't do it enough. Certainly the university lecturers do. They're constantly showing snippets from movies to highlight what they're talking about in the text.
That's right. What we find, though, is that we want our learners to create their own content. Learning is vastly improved when learners are hands-on and they experience the learning. So maybe they might download something like the Dickens and embed it in their blog or their wiki and share it with others and talk about it in a forum or in their Facebook or similar type social media.
Well, they're all of those classics of English literature which the kids study are free on the Gutenberg ebook and all that. I mean, this is what you're about, isn't it? Finding these resources and saying, well, this is what we can tailor to suit your class, which I think is really, really clever.
That's right. And the skills that we're hoping that teachers will adopt are those curation skills, helping learners to curate and discern what is useful information and what's just up there and is not creditable. So exactly.
Academic sources, good stuff. And it's lovely that a lot of it's free, isn't it? TEDx and things like that, or TED-Ed, I should say, and things like that. That's sort of what you're talking about?
Exactly. YouTube. There's so many different tools and resources out there for learners to use. They can create their own and then send it off to a school over the oceans and have them comment on it.
That's brilliant. And do their own stuff as well. Do we have the capacity now in schools too? I believe with the rollout of the NBN schools were a priority. Are we using it properly?
Well, and this is what CloudEd's all about. It's about helping educators to use it properly, and it's not about just technology. It's about how you use it. And, if you look at learners and how they're likely to be in at least an average of 17 careers over their life, unlike us who tend to stay in the same career. They need these skills. They need to adopt these skills, and they need to be able to curate, communicate, interact and engage using the internet. And it needs to start at school.
Are you helping them sort the wheat from the chaff? Because there's a lot of crap on the internet.
That's right.
And this is about, and there's brilliant stuff, but we're not using it the right way, are we?
No.
People are being drawn to stuff that's not peer-reviewed. It's not good proper educational material, I guess. Is that where you come in?
Exactly, and that's included in digital citizenship. So it's a big picture, and it's not something that we can just throw technology at teachers and say, off you go, you can use all this now.
Yeah. Where do you go? Where do you look? I mean, what do you find?
Yeah, you need to have a look at it as a collective. We use communities of practice where we engage all the teachers, we share information.
That would get the message across, wouldn't it? Because if one teacher said, I found this great resource, Louise, steered me towards it. It's really working in science, and the others will use it.
Yes, and that's once again the problem, where we've got these early adopters and innovators, and they're rushing off, and the others are left behind. But we need to get this community of practice going, so we're sharing all the good things, and at any educational site, we have a vision for where we want to go and how we want to implement these resources within the site. And sharing is the fastest way to get there.
And hopefully the classroom's set up to deliver it as well. That's another important part of it, isn't it? The technology inside the classroom.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about BYO devices, and then also having devices in institutions for people who don't have access. That's probably a fast way of implementing. And you talked about high-speed broadband. There's a lot we can do with that, with video conferencing. We can set up video conferences with our friends over the ditch in New Zealand, or all sorts of things. We can study aspects of our curriculum with others across Australia. These are all things we need to be doing, and we need to be doing them quickly. So we can't just use these innovators and early adopters. We need educational technologists such as CloudEd provides to assist teachers to move forward quickly, and we need the educational institutions to have a vision for implementation.
Well, good luck with it. It's a really clever idea, and let's hope it helps our youngsters here on the coast. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, Scott.
And our teachers on the coast too. Louise Lewis there bringing technology